Today I'm doing a whole day of recording, including some solo episodes, and I'm super excited. So the first topic of this very first solo chit chat with Jim that I'm recording is doing things the way we think they should be done versus doing things our way. And this has been a massive one for me as a woman in business over the years, even as a mum. This is apparent in so many areas of our life. So if you are not in business, if you're not a mum, like map it across. Map it across is like so prominent. And the trouble is that if there's something that is new to us, or we're not used to it, or we're not like successful or have momentum in this area yet, it is not present in our life, then we tend to obviously look outside of ourselves for inspiration, for the way that it could be done, for the journey, for instructions, right? For the recipe. And like many cases, that is absolutely amazing. And that's how we learn in this world, right? So it's really important when you're a new mum to be able to ask and look for advice in the right areas for you and to get that information and things like that. Same when you're starting a business. But it gets to the point, can you tell I'm like a hands talker? Yeah, it's probably quite distracting. I've lost my train of thought. So when you're like a woman that's new in business, you really need to look outside of yourself for advice, for the information, for different ways that you could be doing it. But what happens is when we're unsure about something, that we tend to feel like we should do things a particular way. So we see a podcast being recorded and we think, oh, it needs to be sitting up at a desk with like a microphone and, this, that, and the next thing. Like it needs to be all perfectly done. We need to have the intro looking like this and this sounding like this and this in our background and all the things. I feel like I see a lot of business owners, including myself, like in the last 5 years has been a big one for me of seeing things done a certain way and feeling like I need to do it that way too. I should do it that way too. That's just the way it's done. So don't even think about listening or asking myself how I would do it. I just think I need to do it that way. That's the way it should be done. That's the way my website should look. That's the kind of branding shoot that I need to do. That's the kind of offers that I need to offer. That's what I need to be charging. That's XYZ, right? And what's been really interesting is the transformation over, I would say the last 6 months for me is to going, oh, wow, like it's so crazy the amount of things that I was doing just because it's how I thought I should be doing them. Instead of looking at things like that's a way that I could do them. So for example, if I see something that's really great and I really love it and I'm excited about it, to be able to ask myself, am I excited about it because that feels really good to me, like that's something that I would do? Or am I excited about it because I'm like, wow, that person's got momentum and success in that area. Oh my gosh, that's the way I need to be doing it. Because so often we can look at what other people are doing and feel like it's the missing piece in our puzzle. So we can be like, wow, I'm finding this really challenging right now. And then you see someone else having success in that area and you go, oh my gosh, well, clearly that's the way I need to be doing it. And so we start changing what we're doing it and the way that we're doing it to the way that that person's doing it because it looks shiny, exciting, and momentum and successful. And then we forget to even ask ourselves, how best would I do it? And how can I make it more me? And so when I sat down to do this YouTube channel, and I really was getting inspired to do Chit Chat with Jem, I wanted to do solo episodes, wanted to do guest chit chats. I'm like born to chit chat. I think I talk way better than I write. Not saying I'm a terrible writer. I don't want to say that to myself, but I just find chatting really easy and it comes smoothly to me. I love a good chit chat. I love having my friends over for a coffee and having a really good chat and just laid back on the couch, have a coffee with me. We rabbit hole, we talk off on tangents, we laugh, cry, talk about our challenges, talk about our success and celebrate each other, all of the things. And that is what I want my channel to be about. So when I look at the kinds of recordings that I did in the past, whether they're like workshops, masterclasses, like trainings, guest interviews, podcasts, that kind of thing. They're very rigid, they're very structured. A lot of it was very not rehearsed, but I felt like I was needing and supposed to be doing things in a certain way. And so I found myself almost performing. Like when I look back, I can hear myself that I'm feeling like I need to talk a certain way. I'm worried about how I'm articulating myself. I'm worried about how I look. I'm worried that I don't look the part, sound the part, all of the things. And we're still recording, guys. We're going well. So it makes me feel really emotional when I look back at these past recordings and trainings and podcasts that I've done, and for them not to feel fully me, even though I felt great about them in the moment, but for them to not feel like fully me, feels really sad. And so stepping into this year and knowing exactly how I want to create is really exciting. So when I think about this relating to all aspects of life, I think about like things like parenting or looking after your home or running your family. So often when we are doing things the way that we should be doing them instead of doing things our way, we feel like our way is the wrong way, basically, don't we? Like wearing colorful, crazy clothes in your 40s. I think that I always thought that in my 40s, I was going to have a style that would be kind of like classy, mum kind of style, and that I would have like a limited palette kind of wardrobe. Literally what I thought my closet would be like. And in some ways, I started to kind of move towards that. I would buy very practical clothes. I would buy practical colors. I would buy everything would sort of very much matchy match go together, and everything was easy to put together. And you hear me. It's like, it's so not me. And it's absolutely fine if it's other people, if it's you. But can you see that, like, I had this idea of what being in my 40s I was going to be dressed like. So, yeah, doing things how you think they should be done versus doing things your way can map across to so many areas of our lives. And I think that when it comes to our self expression, our business, going after your dreams and ideas, is really, really important to take that inspiration and take those ideas of how other people are doing them, and then to ask yourself how you can make it more you and do things your way, whether it be a YouTube channel like this, where you're going to be sitting on the couch with your coffee and crazy clothes instead of like at a desk with a blazer, or whether it is something quite different. It's doing things your way. I think it's really important when it comes to business, for example. If I zoom in on business, you can tell. If you look at social media, YouTube, any kind of business, especially when it comes to video or like reels and advertising, you can tell a mile away, can't you? If they're doing things the way it should be done in their head, whether they are seeing other people do a certain way and feeling like they need to do it that way too, or if they are just doing it in a full expression of themselves. If they're just doing things their way, you can feel it because their energy is different. Their excitement is different. They speak about it differently. They write about it differently. It's just a completely different ballgame, isn't it? And so I think if you are feeling like there's things in your life that you are doing the way you think they should be done, whether it's the way you dress, the way that you run your house, the way you run your business, what your business and your branding looks like, ask yourself, how can I make it more me? Like, really, if I didn't have to look at how anybody else was doing it, how would I do it? How would it look for me? Really feel into that, because I guarantee that if you feel into how you best want to do things, it'll look and feel and come across completely different to if you do it the way you think you should be doing it. So if you've got an idea, if you've got a dream, if you've got a business and you are creating, ask yourself, how could I make it more me? How could I do things more my way? I'm so excited. Make sure to comment in the comments your takeaways from this, because I've had some really interesting conversations recently about people suddenly realizing they were doing something a certain way and it was feeling really weird and really clunky, and then realizing it's because actually their way would be to do it in a completely different style, create it in a different manner, say it in a different way, different colors, different music, different energy altogether. And when they do that, when they step into doing it their way, literally you can feel the energy, you can feel the connection. It is so much more aligned. It flows so much better. Actually, another really great example before I go is people's social media. So people find it a real struggle to know what to share on social media. It's like a very common struggle, right? And you also hear this very often too. When you feel aligned in your message, and when you know what your message is, you find it very easy to create content. But the other part of that is that I feel like I fail to hear as much is that if you are creating content in ways that everybody else is, in ways that you should be creating content, it will feel clunky. You will feel like you are pushing it. It will feel blur to you because it's not how you are to be creating the content. It's not how you are to be expressing that message. So if you've got a really strong message that you are powerful, like passionate about, ask yourself, how would I best express that? Like, how would I love to express that? Because it might be dancing in a reel. It might be filming yourself chatting as you're going for a walk each day. It might be that you share a series of beautiful photos. Yes, there are things that everybody else is doing, and you'll see other things that feel really exciting, and you can use those as inspiration. And though, ask yourself literally, and there wasn't any right or wrong, how would I do it? How would I create? And go ahead and do it in that style. I think it's so super important to listen to ourselves and just go for it. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing with this YouTube channel. There are a million ways I could do a YouTube channel. There is a million ways that other people have done them. I'm like, how do I want to do it? Cool. This is how I'm doing it. Literally. So let's go. 2026, the year that I decide to do things my way, hop on YouTube, create videos from my couch with a random microphone because my little ones aren't charging or working or whatever yet, but it doesn't matter. I'm freaking excited. And I can't wait for you guys to do things your way instead of the way that you think they should be done. And I want you to comment in the comments what that is. What are you deciding right now, today, that stuff it? You're not going to do it that way anymore. You're going to do it your way. Cheering you on as always. And I'll see you in the next solo chat. Bye.